Hi, you guys, and welcome to Nosy Bystanders Live. I am your host, Chief Nosy Bystander, one word. So we got a couple of stories I wanted to get to today, and then there's a couple of stories I want to get to today because they're interesting, right? So shout out to Nosy Bystanders who us these stories because they are interesting. Now tomorrow, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about if you guys are on TikTok. What I want to talk about tomorrow is this. If you're on TikTok, you're gonna know, but if you don't, I'm gonna just explain it to you. So there is a polyamorous couple on TikTok. It's a black guy with these two females. I don't know what their names are. Please don't ask me, and nor do I care. But he's like sending shockwaves through the TikTok community because he is holding these very large live streams on TikTok, and apparently everybody and their mama coming out the woodwork saying this guy's a liar. He's not a scammer. They're not really saying he's a scammer, but they are calling him a liar. So specifically, his ex-girlfriend came out and started saying talking about their relationship together. And then last night, a bunch of you guys tagged me because apparently his father and his brother came out to talk about him. Also, I got a new chair. You can't see it, but it's really nice. So I got a new chair and I found it. I found it. I live in a town where you can just find furniture. So, but yeah, I want to talk about him tomorrow because we got to get into the details. Because if you don't know, don't worry. We'll get you all set up tomorrow. But tomorrow, I want to talk about this polyamorous couple that is going all over TikTok and how all of their family members are just coming out saying this guy's a liar. He's this, he's this, he's this. His father disowned him. His ex-girlfriend said he was this, that, and the third. So I want to get into that story tomorrow too because it's like super popular. A bunch of large name, non-verified TikTok creators, a couple of them that you might know and might not know. Leora is one of them. Another one goes by the name of EK. They all jumped into his live box yesterday and they are just like questioning him, tearing him apart, all this other stuff. So I want to get into that story because it's interesting and I want to bring it over here to YouTube. I don't think it's made its way to YouTube, but we might as well be the first to do it. So I want to get into our first story. Some of you guys already know Lance Riddick from the show The Wire passed away. Apparently, I just saw it here on Twitter. It looks like his publicist or somebody had posted a what's it called? A tribute to him. And before we get into that tribute, let me pull it up. I want to see who's all in the building. Lance. There he is. Yeah, they posted from his publicist. His publicist posted something. So I wanted to read it with you guys. Here it is. And I'll pull it up so you'll be able to read it. But let's see who's all in the building. Smash the like button on your way in. Don't be ignorant. Please don't. That's how we get paid. Okay. Let's see who's all in here. Hello, Shug. Hello, Outspoken. Hello, Goddess C. Says, hey, cousins, I'm early. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Amber. Hello, Quanda. What's up, Triple Leo? Hello, Unapologetically Dope. What's up, Desmond? How you doing? Desmond. So you guys, full disclosure, Desmond is a good friend of mine. So he's always in the building. Shout out to Desmond. I went and got lunch. Okay, full disclosure, I went and got lunch today, so I had a couple of cocktails. So Desmond and I have been on this venture because he likes the dating app BLK. I don't. I feel like it's full of scammers. Okay, if you know, you know. But we found some pretty decent matches. So we got a lot to do after the show, Desmond. We got a lot to do after the show. Hello, Joycelyn. How you doing today? Hello, Half Crazy. Hello, Greatness. Hello, Margaret. Hello, is it Sika Kaffa? Hello, our Virgil. Hello, Nosy or Inquisitive. What's up, Ezra Cresses? Hey, everybody. How you doing? Hello, Kelly. Hello, Precious Jackson. Hello, Cheese Hill. Don't think I've ever seen you here before, but welcome. Hello, Mrs. Harper. Hello, Precious again. Hello, Statement 92. Anybody here from Facebook? What's up, Lady T? Hello, Nisa. Hello, Carissa. Snow says, I'm so happy because I'm driving from Philly to Baltimore and I need the entertainment. We got you. Okay, drive safely. This is from Meeks Speech and said, what's up, y'all? No Justice, No Peace. Hello, Jacqueline, all the way from Facebook. Hello, Shell from Facebook. And Roxanne from Facebook says, his pops, where are the videos, Nosy? We gonna go over those tomorrow because I got them and I downloaded them in case his father and his brother deleted them. I downloaded them, so we're good to go. Hello, YNV. Hello, Loretta. Hello, Lorinda. How you doing today? Hello, Joanna. Hello, Courtney. What's up, YNV? How you doing? Hello, Tavanya, all the way from Facebook. Hello, Yo Cheetah. Hello, Rena. Hello, Fortune, all the way from Facebook again. Courtney says, really be okay. When I was on there, it was the bottom of the barrel. People just a bunch of pookies. Be okay is not bad if you change the age. You got to change the age. Now, I don't know how old you are, Courtney, but I'm almost in my 40s. So the guys in my age, they're not too bad on the eyes, if you know what I mean. So, but if you're younger, if you're looking for guys 20 to 35, yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of Pookies and Ray Rays. Okay, so Godspeed with that one. Godspeed. I apologize to you, but I'm sorry. You got to get to a certain age before they start to before that jungle juice turns to wine, okay? Because what you're dealing with sounds like jungle juice, okay? But yes, you just gotta get a little bit older, or just date older, you know? If you're old enough, if you're over 21, you don't mind dating a guy in his 40s or something. Yeah, there you go. You said, I was on Be Okay, the guys are immature. You guys, it's not that, just give it a shot. I'm not a dating coach, but the first thing I would probably tell you before we get into this, the first thing I would probably tell you is have a set level of standards. And that way you don't got to entertain everyone, because if they don't meet them within the first 3 conversations, you just don't have to deal with them anymore, and you won't get heartbroken, you know, or you don't have to realize they're immature, you know? So it's all a matter of perspective. You got to know what it is you're going for, and you got to know what it is you want, because dating apps are tough, you know what I mean? And then BLK is just all Black people. I mean, there's some white people in there too, but it's mostly all Black people. But you just, dating's hard, you guys. I don't take advice from me. I'm single and unmarried, so I'm like the last person you want advice. You want advice from a married person, right? All of my friends are married except Desmond, so like, you don't want advice from me, okay? You don't want advice from me, okay? We in the same pool. Now, granted, there's piss in it, but we can swim around it, okay? So I want to read the statement from Lance Riddick. I think it's from his wife. Oh, that's so sad. It's from his wife, Stephanie Riddick. If you can't see it, that's okay. I'm going to read it to you. It says, Lance was taken from us far too soon, and thank you all for your, hold on, let me there it is. And thank you all for your overwhelming love and support and beautiful stories shared on these platforms over the last days. I see your messages and I can't begin to express how grateful I am with them. And to the thousands of Destiny players who played in special tribute to Lance, thank you. Lance loved you so much. He loved the game. Donations will be made to the momcares.org in Baltimore, his hometown. Stephanie Riddick. Now, I don't know if that's his wife or if that is a sister or a family member, but yeah, he's definitely missed. They didn't say how he passed away, but I'm sure TMZ will get his autopsy report. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. People just leaving just these beautiful tributes in his messages, which is nice. So yeah, rest in peace, Lance. He was a fantastic actor. I might watch The Wire. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I just might watch The Wire. Okay. Hey there. What's up, Miss Mamacita? How you doing today? Desmond, the shade. Listen, ain't no shade. I'm just saying. Like, I don't know nothing about dating, y'all. Please don't ask me about dating. Desmond is my dating coach. Okay, ask Desmond about dating. Okay. Hello, April. How you doing today? Hello, Ortiz. Jacqueline says, I just loved him, and The Wire was cheated out of all kinds of awards. Yeah, I heard it was a fantastic show. I'm gonna watch it. I never watched it. I'll watch it. But I heard it was a really, really great show. But I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the Biden administration, Shanquila Robinson case, and talking about some details of it. Because I think this is probably the first time that they've ever discussed the Shanquilla Robinson case. This is from Yahoo News. It's published a couple days ago. It said Biden administration responds to calls for intervention in the Shanquilla Robinson death case. Let me blow this up so you guys can see it. If you're driving, please don't look. Just listen in. Okay, so it says, as attorneys for Robinson's family call for action from the White House, the State Department and the FBI share the status of the case with the GRIO, another publication. So the Biden administration has responded to Shanquilla Robinson's family's calls to intervene in the case of her death in Mexico nearly 5 months ago. In a letter sent to President Biden that we had read a couple of days ago, the detailed letter, the Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday, attorneys representing the family requested immediate diplomatic intervention from the United States government as no arrests have been made in the death of the 25-year-old citizen. And on October 29th, Shanquilla Robinson, of course, she met her demise in Cabo San Lucas. It says her family's attorney, famed civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and Sue Ann Robinson called for U.S. officials to release the U.S. suspects to Mexico authorities or request a concurrent jurisdiction to bring charges against them here in the United States. Unfortunately, justice delayed is going to be justice denied in this case. Sue Robinson told the Griot, every single day that passes, the evidence and the testimony, witnesses' recollection, those things dissipate day by day. Now, let me just pause it right here because I need to add my 2 cents to this. So a really great example of what's occurring with the Shanquilla Robinson case happened to have occurred in a fantastic documentary called Dear Zachary. If you don't know what Dear Zachary is, it's free on YouTube. I encourage you to watch it. It's incredibly sad, but let me just give you the footnotes. So a guy who was a filmmaker went to college with his friend and high school with him, and then his friend ended up going to med school and became a doctor. The filmmaker who really documented him and his best friend's entire journey for like 25 years, the doctor was brutally murdered by another doctor who he was in a relationship with. She was from Canada, and she was also a doctor in the United States in Iowa. So the family of the doctor who died, I think his name was David, went to Canada to get justice because she had fled to Canada. And they were looking to get her extradited back to the United States. Turns out through the extradition process, they found out she was pregnant. So it delayed the extradition. But if you watch that documentary and if you watch the video, and I will pin the video here in this video, we had discussed precisely how extradition treaties occur. Extradition requests occur. It's not the and this is no shade to Ben Crump as well as Sue Ann Robinson and the Shanquilla's family. This is no shade to them. But herein lies the issue. Extradition requires the translation of 2 languages. It's not like the extradition came from Ireland or from England, or it's an American speaking or an English speaking nation. It came from a nation where another language is spoken. In that documentary, Dear Zachary, the family moves to Canada and they are waiting for the extradition process. But you know what happened? Because in their heads, they're like, the extradition process should be quick. Do you know what happened when they went to Canada for that extradition request? The Canadian Supreme Court says, our first language is French. So if the United States wants to extradite her, they're going to have to write their extradition request in French. And that's what the U.S. prosecutors did. They wrote it in French. And you know what happened? They went to court in Canada. And they had to have it translated in court in Canada. And you know what slowed the process down? One line item in the extradition process was incorrectly translated. So when it translated back into French from English, it didn't even say what it was supposed to say. So it caused the delay by 6 months. It's just language. So everyone, and I'm not trying to knock Ben Crump or Shanquilla Robinson's family, but what's really grinding my gears is this impatientness. The legal system is for everyone, not just Shanquilla Robinson. I'm sorry, and that is the hard truth. That is the hard truth. Okay? If we all could write letters to the president and be like, hey, push my case forward, we would all do it. It's not fair. It's not. And in my personal opinion, I feel like Shanquilla's family is cutting the line, and I don't like that because there's something about that doesn't sit right with me. Your daughter's case, as sad as it is, requires an extradition request that must be translated from Spanish to English and in English to Spanish and vice versa. And you, using your very high profile attorney, cutting the line and getting and making your way to the White House, to me, I find a little bit tasteless, because you're making it seem like Mexico's not doing their job when they are, that the Justice Department isn't doing their job, which they are. They're translating it. They can't translate it any faster. You understand what I mean? That's like somebody saying, hey, walk from New York to San Francisco, and you're walking. They're like, why are you moving so slow? Can't you walk any fast? You're like, I'm walking already. What else you want me to do? I'm already walking. We want me to cartwheel there? I'm walking. You're just going to have to take it at the pace that I give it to you, because this is all I can do. So I feel like the family is flexing their high profile attorney, and I feel like it's line cutting, and I'm not a fan of the line cutting, and I'm not a fan of this like overarching demand. It's not like Mexico said, it's not, here's the thing about the Shanquila Robinson case. It's not like the Mexican government said, oh, there's no case here. Then I could see why you would go to the president of the United States, like, hey, our allies are telling us there's no case. I need someone to like overlook this. But they're saying there's a case. We finished. You just got to wait for the OIA department and the Justice Department to translate it. And bam, justice. So what you want them to do? You want them to hire more translators? Dejanay's attorney could, once the extradition is translated, then the warrant is served. If Dejanay, after all these months, have gotten herself a decent attorney, and there's one grammatical error because it was rushed, that delays justice. And then you know what happens? It's not like the OIA department and the Justice Department can just be like, oh, sorry, grammatical error, let me just fix it. They can't do that. They have to take that full document and take it all the way back to Mexico, and they got to rewrite it. So it's not that simple. It's not as simple as hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, send us the warrant. It's not that simple. And I feel like it's causing the nation, people, the onlookers, us, the looky-loos, it's making us, not me, but, or you guys, but other people who are observing this case, it's making them think that Shanquella is not getting any justice. Because she said here in her statement, delayed justice is just as bad as no justice. No, it's not. No, it's not. And that to me, I feel like that was very disingenuous of her attorney to say it was delayed justice because we don't feel like waiting. Trayvon Martin didn't get any justice. Tamir Rice, zero justice. Zero. None. He got no justice. There are tons of cases where people get no justice. Shanquilla Robinson is getting literal justice at a snail's pace, yeah, but she's getting it. So the fact that her attorney be like, we're tired of waiting, so we feel like she's not getting any justice, I feel like that's distorting what her parents think and what her supporters think. And I feel like it's very disingenuous for an attorney to say some ignorant shit like that. Like, it's just not happening fast enough, so there's no justice to be had. That's messed up, you know? That's just messed up. Let me get some of your comments. This is from Maul Buck. What's up, Maul Buck from Facebook? How you doing today? This is from Yochita says, it's not fair and they're playing with the public's emotions. It's outrageous and they're not the first and only to go through this. What if her punishment is 12 years? Will they be happy? That's what I'm saying. That's why we were so frustrated with the North Carolina beats, because he was throwing all kinds of people in it to be aggressors when most of the people he was thoroughly accusing had nothing to do with this case, specifically Nazir Wiggins. You understand what I mean? So when you do stuff like this, you're making it feel like she's not going to get any justice. And then what happens if Dejanay only gets 12 years? Then what? Because her getting 12 years in Mexico has nothing to do with her criminal record here in the United States. So she can come back to the US and just get a job and do what she's got to do with the rest of her life. You understand? It's, albeit she survives a Mexican prison. But you understand what I mean? So but great point, Yochita. This from Ezrika says, I get the family wants justice as soon as possible. They have tunnel vision and are only looking out for themselves. Exactly. And it makes me feel like the motives of what are the attorneys' motives? Because you're not getting paid anything. So what are you doing? Are you planning a civil suit of some sort from the resort, or what's happening? Because what's the rush? Shanquilla Robinson's family doesn't actually need attorneys. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Shanquilla Robinson's attorneys are the prosecutors. You know who needs an attorney? Dejanay Jackson. You know who needs an attorney? Her other 4 co-conspirators, possibly. You know who does not need an attorney? Shanquilla Robinson's parents. They do not need an attorney. Their attorney are the prosecutors. They work for the families and victims. So the fact that they have attorneys, I find a bit strange. I'm finding a bit, it's a bit odd to me. It's just a bit odd to me personally, right? I just find it odd that they have attorneys. This from Yochita says she can't fight extradition. It takes long. She can fight it. You can. You guys have to watch the documentary, Dear Zachary. So let me finish. So while the family, David, I know you're probably wondering, why is the documentary called Dear Zachary if the victim's name was David? The woman who murdered David had a baby, and it was David's, and she named him Zachary. And the family went to Canada to get custody of the baby because she was a threat. She murdered their son, and now she's got his baby. So they were fighting. The reason why it was taking so long for them to extradite her, and it's a fantastic story about extradition. The reason why it was taking so long to get this woman, this murderer, back to America for her trial is because there were so many grammatical errors and misspellings and arguing of, well, what does that translation mean? Okay, well, here's the translation in English, but what does it mean back in French? So there were so many arguments on translation of the extradition request from America to Canada that it delayed. It was just delaying her getting extradited. So you need to watch the documentary. You need to watch the documentary, Dear Zachary, if you want to get an understanding of what's going on in Shanquilla Robinson's case, because it lays it out perfectly. Is a perfect prime example of what occurs when one nation wants a person to be brought to justice, but require an extradition request. You need to watch that documentary. So it takes long. Before they can actually transfer the criminal to the other state, the Supreme Court or the Supreme Court or the federal courts, however it works, has to approve of the translation of the extradition request from both respective languages, period. So before Dejanay will even touch down in Mexico, that extradition request has to be processed properly. And that can, even when the Justice Department gets it, which I think they already have it, and now they're just translating it before they can execute it, you guys, it could take up to a year. Because everything translated in English does not translate back in Spanish and vice versa. And Dejanay, if she has a decent attorney, could fight it tooth and nail for years. For years. So don't get too hung up if they issue a warrant out for her arrest, because it means nothing when her attorneys start to argue it. It means absolutely nothing. It means nothing. And she's probably preparing her, because they all have really good jobs. She's probably preparing herself to get a really good international attorney, who knows extradition processes. And it's usually retired prosecutors and retired Justice Department officials and all that other stuff. So don't assume that because you get the announcement that there's a warrant out for Dejanay's arrest means she's immediately getting extradited. Her attorneys get to argue that. This is from Tasha says, people will always say the family should do this or do that. If you never been in their shoes, then none of us have a say so in this, but to watch. Every case is treated differently. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And this is just my personal opinion. That's all. That's right. This from Bridget says, you're so arrogant. Me? And self-centered. Me? I said, the lawyers are the experts, and I'm sure knows more than you. You equals comments were disrespectful. You talking to me? Bridget, I'm not, you guys, when I talk about stuff that has to do with, I'm just so tired of having to argue this. I'm going to just put a sticker on my head that says political scientist. I have a foundational understanding of the United States Constitution, international relations, and nuclear weapons deals. It's not something that I just brag about because I just like to brag about international relations. I know these things. I know exactly how NATO works. I know exactly how Interpol works. And I know exactly how most treaties work, specifically in regards to nuclear weapons. But extradition requests aren't far from it. So if you're calling me arrogant and self-centered, I'm not. I do know these things. I'm speaking to you about them from experience. I'm not speaking to you saying, oh, I think this is how, I know how they work. I read the OIA's report on extradition requests. I've read the PJG&E, which is from Mexico. I've read their reports on how extradition works. If I wasn't doing this show, I would literally be at a political science conference with other political scientists, political sciencing. Okay. So it's not, the things that I say come from somewhere. I'm not your average, regular, degular blogger who says stuff out of their side of their neck without a frame of reference for something. I'm not those kind. Now, I'm sure you're used to them. I'm sure you're used to the North Carolina beats, the Tasha K's, the whatever you want to call them. I don't care. It's not my business. I'm sure you're used to them. This ain't that. I don't know their background and experience when it comes to international relations, but I sure know mine. Okay. And I got the degrees to prove it. So I'm not here to argue what I know and what I don't. I know what I know. And I'm telling you, an extradition request is a lengthy process. And the fact that I feel like people are line cutting to get theirs done before others, I just don't like it. It just doesn't sit right with me because the extradition process is time consuming, and forcing the Biden administration isn't going to make it happen any faster, right? It's like childbirth. You can't force the baby out any faster. The baby's going to come when it comes. And you can't argue with the doctors and nurses and be like, oh, this is just unjust. I went into labor. My water broke 10 minutes ago and I dilated an hour ago, and yet this baby's not here. I feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick. You know what your doctor and nurse tell you? That baby's going to come when it comes. Okay. You can't rush nature. So it's the same thing. Okay. It's the same thing. So, okay, this is from Moo Woo. Says, first off, this is Steph's channel. I don't be trying to tell people. I don't be trying to listen. Y'all always say it. Steph, why you always be flexing your degrees? So people know. Okay, so you know. I'm not talking out of the side. There are topics where I will talk and be like, I don't really have a whole lot of information on it, so I can't really give my opinion. But these are not my opinions. These are facts. These are straight facts about the extradition process. I'm just giving it to y'all in lightning speed, okay? Please, okay. I'm right on topic. Okay, I'm right on topic. Okay, I'm right on topic. Okay, so this is from Sweet Capricorn. Says, sometimes your knowledge does come off as arrogant when people are simply engaging with their opinions. But again, I tell people this all the time. Your opinions have no basis here. So, and that's no shade to y'all. I just tell you guys that they don't. You know what does have a basis here? Your analyzation of a story. Analyze the story, right? Your theories on the story, right? What conjunctions have you come up with based off the evidence of the story? Those things I roll out a red carpet for. What I don't roll out a red carpet for are opinions. I just don't. We've talked about this already. Your opinions, you leave them at the door. You're more than welcome to come back when you're done. Your opinions have no basis here. What does hold a high seat here are your theories, are your analyzations, even some assumptions, right? What are you presuming about the evidence that we're talking about? Those I hold a high esteem to when you deliver them. You'd be like, Steph, this is what I think is occurring based off of what you just told us, or based off what the evidence is saying. But when you say things like, well, I feel like that has no basis here. Keep your opinions to yourself. That's simple. Keep your opinions to yourself. This from Juliet. Says, we could be optimistic. There could be a miracle. We never know. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The Biden administration could light a fire under the OIA's department and be like, hey, hurry up on that extradition request. But even if they completed it, right? Even if they completed the translation of it from Spanish to English, it still does not mean that Dejanay is going to be extradited to Mexico, you guys, because it has to be presented in court. And Dejanay has every single right to argue it. At least our attorney does. So even if, right, for example, if the extradition requested, like, we have finished the translation, we're going to execute the warrant, and they take it to court, Dejanay's attorney can still argue the translation. So it doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be in Mexico the next day. That is what I'm saying. You cannot rush that, because what you would be doing is violating Dejanay's right to a fair trial and everything else that comes with extradition requests. So you'd be violating that, which could negate the entire case and throw it out the window. So you want to take your time with it. And by rushing it and fast tracking it through the White House has no basis in the courts, because the White House is the executive branch of the government. It's not the judicial branch. So it doesn't even mean anything. The letter to President Biden does nothing. That's what I'm trying. That's the short extent of what I'm trying to say. It does nothing. It does literally nothing. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's just grandstanding. That's it. It doesn't move anything any faster. Nothing happens. It doesn't move anything any faster. The people who are translating it are not going to translate it any faster. Nothing's going to happen. It's just a grandstand, which is really a waste of time. And if the Robinson family is paying Crump and they're paying this other woman, now they're wasting their money. So yeah. So this from Yoshida says, her attorney can argue the evidence which led to the warrant and get it thrown out too. Not quite yet. No, they can't argue that until discovery. So that doesn't occur until discovery. What happens is when the extradition so I wish I had a diagram. So imagine this is the extradition. It's just a line item person. Try not to think of it as a piece of paper. Think of it as a person. And it's dressed, means it's ready. And it's walking to court. Once it gets in front of the judge, right? Then the third party comes up and be like, okay, let's argue it now. Before I even turn over my client, now let's argue what the translation says. Y'all, that's still 6 more months, a year, possibly. So while the attorneys and the judge are arguing the translation in court, Dejanay does not get extradited until it is done. And the judge then can say, yeah, Dejanay's attorneys, they're right. This is the improper translation. So it has to go back to Mexico. And the process starts all over again. And there's nothing the Biden administration can do. You can't do anything if somebody misinterprets or incorrectly translates something. You just got to start over. Joe Biden's not going to write it himself. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense to everyone in the building? Does it make sense? Are we getting it? Are we getting it? Are we getting it? Good. This from Lexi Glow says, okay, so basically they could get away with causing someone to be unalived. Yeah. Yeah. Rushing it would be the worst thing. You know? Rushing it would be the worst thing. Especially if you don't hire more people to translate it. If you just tell the OIA, translate it faster, someone can make a mistake. You gotta start over. Just don't rush it. Just let them do what they do. They're not gonna not do it. As from Yoshida says, people going off emotions, evidence chain of custody and body tainted, in my opinion. People assuming that the video will be evidence in court can get thrown out too. It could. Again, I'm not a judge to determine if that video can get thrown out. I don't think it would get thrown out, but hey, we never know. You never know. You never know. Let me get to Jean. What's up? Jean says they don't like that you're smart. They don't like that you're so matter of fact and can't handle the truth. This is daily. They need to just listen and see how you analyze these cases. We take this serious. Yeah, I take it very seriously. I don't dick around with when I say stuff. Like, and I also don't like it's hard to explain, but you guys, the way that I analyze information is how most people analyze information. It's just without emotions. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to I don't know how else to say that. Like, if you don't analyze information based off of fact, that's how innocent people go to jail. And I'm not saying Dejanay's innocent. She's definitely guilty. But if you rush it, if you try to rush it, guilty people walk free and innocent people go to jail. You know, if you start wrapping your emotions in it, that's how innocent people go to jail. You just want to analyze the information as is. Take out your emotions. You have to, or we're going to be fighting all the time in the comments. Does how you feel have any basis in the actual evidence of any story we discuss? If it does, tell me why. If it doesn't, keep it to yourself. It's that simple. just keep it to yourself, y'all. But everything else you guys say is factual and anecdotal. It works. But it just be a handful of people that just be sliding in here like, oh, you're so mean. I'm not mean. I just don't give a fuck how you feel. I just want to hear what your analysis of the story is and analyze the story for me. That's it. If you don't want to use that other, 93% of your brain, what you want me to do? And for real, what you want me to do? If you go through life using your emotions all the time, I don't even know how some of y'all made it to adulthood. It's scary. So Jacqueline says, I'm understanding the systems, but this family is mourning the loss of their child. Patience isn't their strong point now. No, it's not. No. I hope they didn't give the Crumps any money. That's just my opinion. I hope they didn't. Your analysis is mostly like surgical. Yeah, it is. It's just the way my brain thinks, but your brain can do the same thing. I just have been doing it a little bit longer than most people, but I can teach your brain to analyze stuff like this, surgical, without emotion, so you can get to the fact of it. And you can use it for everything in life, not just these stories, right? You can use it for any aspect of your life. Like, what is in my face? Oh, this LaCroix is in my face? Okay. Don't say things like, oh, well, it feels like it tastes like Sprite. It's not Sprite. It's just club soda. So look at what's presented to you and then just say what it is. Don't say how you feel it is. Don't say how you feel like it tastes. Don't say you wish it was this. Don't say, but your heart is pretending it's Sprite or, Sierra Mist. Just call it what it is. It's just club soda. That's it. Look, I wish it was. No, don't do that. It's club soda. Just it's club soda. Okay, that wishing and wanting stuff, that's how you get mixed up. This is from Minnesota. Mandy says, do Mexican courts have the same standards as American courts? It may be easier to be convicted in Mexico. Well, they don't have bail. I don't really know a whole lot about the Mexican court system, but closer and closer to this case, we're going to learn more every day. There's going to be a ton of legal eagles coming out all over the place. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, they're all going to come out because this case is going to be nationwide. It's going to be global. So there's going to be a ton of legal experts. They're going to be leaning on to legal experts, and we're going to lean on to those legal experts because I don't know nothing about Mexican courts. The only thing I do know about Mexican court is that they don't have bail. So if there's a warrant out for your arrest and you get picked up, you just sit in jail till trial. That's all I know. I don't really know much else. But again, we're going to learn. We're going to learn that over the course of time, hopefully. Sweet Capricorn says she's factual and analytical, period. It's just perfectly fine. Yeah. I mean, I'm emotional too, you guys. I'm a woman. I mean, I have a vagina and a period, but when it comes to cases like this, I just try to focus because there's so much stuff that goes on. It's like I can physically see Shanquilla's case. And it's like when it came out, it feels blurry. So I just I didn't even want to touch this story, but I did my best to kind of move all the fervor to the side. And I just looked at what was presented to us, and what I didn't know, I didn't know. And what I do know, I do know. And based off of what I did know, I did my best to hypothesize what I think was occurring. But that's it. That's from Gene Sandler. Says analyzation with you, Chief, is the best part of my day. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. You said I'm going through a treatment and I love this. So I'm engaged in this analytical stuff. Okay, well, we're here with you through treatment and spirit. Okay. This from Juicy J says, I'm gonna give credit to North Carolina Beats because he's how I found he get on my nerve. I do not like him. I don't. This is from Sweet California says North Carolina Beats. He is. Y'all know how I feel about him. But let me finish the article. Okay, let me finish this article. It says the homicide case, which remains in legal jurisdiction of Mexico, received international media attention after the viral cell phone video that's called The Female Traveling Companion and the other violently attacking Shanquila Robinson. In addition to the letter, the Biden administration and the GRIO obtained copies of the documents filed by the Baja California Surrey Attorney General office and investigating Shanquilla Robinson's homicide. Sue Ann Robinson, who is not related to the deceased woman, told the GRIO that she and Crump sent the documents and letter to the White House State Department to close the gap on the administration's ability to say we can't intervene because we don't have what the ask is. She continued writing the letter and detailing specifically what the ask is, and obviously the background of the case, closing the gaps for the administration to make the claim, and hopefully is a flag to let them know that they need to intervene in the case. According to the letter, the Mexican prosecutor's office has issued a warrant for Dejanay, one of the travel mates who a witness identified as the woman who attacked Shanquilla Robinson. Prosecutors also obtained statements from the Villa concierge who interfaced with the group in the hours leading up to and after the death of the woman, the young woman's death. The concierge recalls that Jackson asked her travel companion, said her travel companion died due to having too much alcohol. The attorney said Jackson and two others, Winter Donovan and Khalil Cook, told Shanquilla's mother that she had died of alcohol poisoning when they came to her home in North Carolina to extend their condolences and return her luggage. However, the footage of the assault and the subsequent autopsy concluded that the death is of a broken neck could prove otherwise. The video evidence was the game changer, said the family's attorney. That changed the case for the Mexican authorities from basic reporting of a death from considering that was considered alcohol poisoning to an active criminal investigation. She added, unfortunately, by the time the video came out, the travel mates had already fled back to the United States, and following day after Shanquilla was declared deceased. Here it says that now the family is pleading with the Biden administration to ensure that the individuals involved in Shanquilla Robinson's death are held responsible for the crimes committed. Crump told the GRIO that before the video surfaced, the FBI said there wasn't any evidence to substantiate that a crime had been committed. Similarly, activist Tamika Mallory, who led a rally with Crump and Shanquilla Robinson's family in Washington, D.C. earlier that month, noted in the interview that the GRIO, that the State Department released a statement concluding that there was no signs of foul play. In a statement provided by the GRIO, the State Department spokesperson said that they are closely monitoring local authorities' investigation. The spokesperson added, the State Department has no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens overseas and supports a thorough investigation into the circumstances of this incident. As for the U.S. government's request to extradite suspects to Mexico authorities, the State Department said it does not comment on extradition matters, and the department also referred to the GRIO and the FBI for information in regard to the investigation. In a statement provided to the GRIO, I hope I'm saying that right, the GRIO, the spokesperson for the FBI, the investigation said it was ongoing. The FBI is working with the Department of Justice to conduct a thorough and exhaustive investigation to determine if the United States, if the U.S. federal crime was committed, according to the statement. The FBI and State Department declined to comment on whether they have received the letter from attorneys, but Sue Ann Robinson confirmed with the GRIO that the White House received it. She said the letter was a follow-up to the White House requesting more information about the case following a March 3rd press conference in D.C. The attorney says that they recognize their request for the U.S. to return over U.S. citizens to foreign country is. The attorneys say they recognize their request for the U.S. to turn over American citizens to a foreign country is unusual as it relates to the extradition case. However, Sue Ann Robinson noted that this is protocol and precedent for it. She cited the case of a recent kidnapping of 4 U.S. citizens, which led to 2 deaths, as a clear example of the level of cooperation that can occur between the U.S. and Mexico authorities. We've seen it in recent kidnapping cases in Mexico, which is different substantively, but it does show that the U.S. law enforcement can very swiftly coordinate with Mexican law enforcement to work on the transnational case. She said, when asked about the case during Thursday's press briefing, Karine Jean-Pierre referred the Grillo to the State Department and the FBI. However, the Biden administration said that the White House is closely following the case and extending the administration's condolences to the Shanquila Robinson's family. Our hearts go out to Robinson's family and friends. It is devastating what occurred. Similarly, in the statement about a young woman's death, the FBI said, we know this is a difficult time for her family and the community. Robinson and family attorney said back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico officials is misinformation about the case that have been very difficult for the family, particularly Shanquilla Robinson's mother. Yeah, that's for the North Carolina beat. Your misinformation campaign, you and the rest of you, those crackpot bloggers, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. You should. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. I would be embarrassed if a statement came out from a victim's mother that said, all the misinformation about my child's case, it's exhaustive and it you know, it's very difficult to hear. I would be embarrassed if I were the North Carolina Beats, knowing the misinformation he spread about this case and having her mother give a statement at Yahoo News. This is an embarrassment. This is for this, and she continues this. They've been thrust into this while they're grieving their daughter. She said some days are better than others, but obviously the longer the justice is delayed, it causes more and more frustration for the family. That's the end of the article. It's just ridiculous. I mean, the misinformation is ridiculous. Is Crump working with the first attorney? He is. They're together. They're working together. This from Ira T says, how can someone else's ethics feel embarrassing? What do you mean? How can someone else's ethics feel embarrassing? How can someone without ethics feel embarrassing? Someone without ethics. Who knows? What's up, Cookie Woods says, I watched a few minutes of North Carolina Beats until I just couldn't take it anymore. This from YV says, the media and others need to back off Shanquilla's mother so she can sit down for a bit and grieve. No, the mother, if I had to surmise this, and it's not my opinion, but this is just based off of the media, the mainstream media's coverage of Shanquilla Robinson's case. I think that the mother wants the mainstream media to continue to cover her daughter's case, because what happens is when the media continues to cover a case, what it does is it kind of sets a fire underneath the justice system and the legal system and law enforcement to do their jobs well, because they're under a microscope, right? The media is a microscope. So I don't think she has a problem with the Grillo, because she sat down and talked with the Grillo and Yahoo News. So she had no problem sitting down talking to them. She actually sat down and talked with the Today Show and things like that. What she has a problem was, and I say, is the misinformation in regards to her daughter's case. And the only person peddling misinformation happened to be Gerardo Zuniga, the North Carolina Beats, and the lead attorney. And I think there was other couple female bloggers who were out there pushing and peddling misinformation. So that's what she was sick of. That's why she didn't sit down with the North Carolina Beats, nor did her other daughter, Quilla. Because he's a crackpot. This is from is it worth it? Is it what it is? It is what it is. Says, being that femicide is not a crime listed on the treaty, is it true that Mexico has to change the charge to murder for the U.S. to acknowledge it? That will take even more time. I don't know where that theory came from, but you guys, that is not true. That is not true. And if it's another conspiracy theory whipped up by another crackpot blogger, let me explain to you what the charge of femicide is and how it has no relation to this case. So anytime a female in Mexico dies, no matter how she's dead, it's simply labeled femicide. right? Just imagine a room full of shoes. You're not labeling them high heels, kitten heels, sandals, espadrilles, sneakers, slide. You're not doing that. You're just like shoes. So imagine you walk into a room and it's just shoes. So anytime a woman is dead, anytime she's dead, whether she tripped and fell and died, whether she died in an elective surgery, murder, childbirth, it's always labeled femicide. It's just the stock and barrel label for a dead woman. What then the investigators do is they investigate how she died. Like, okay, well, she died during childbirth. So we just strip the label of femicide off and then we label it, she died during childbirth. Or she was, shot by another woman who she was a relative of, but she wasn't in a sexual relationship with. Okay, it's just murder. So we just peel off. Okay, we just peel off the label of femicide. That's how femicide works. Femicide is just a lock, stock, slapstick label that the Mexican government throws on any case of a dead woman. That's it. Every woman gets it. You got a vagina, you die, femicide. Once they investigate your case and they determine it's not femicide, they simply just peel the sticker off. Okay, that's it. So they just peel the sticker off. That title of femicide has nothing to do with extradition. They don't have to rewrite anything because it's just an arbitrary label that gives women protections when they're dead. That's it. If you do die by the hands of your lover, whether it be male, female, or non-binary, then the label of femicide stays. But there's no evidence that Shanquella nor Dejanay were in a sexual relationship together. So the label of femicide was simply just laid on top of her because she's a woman who died in Mexico. Got it? Yeah, no, it's not equivalent to a U.S. hate crime because that's an actual federal offense, a hate crime, because it's tied to the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So a hate crime is a thing. Femicide, the way that you're going to look at femicide is more like imagine walking into a candy store. Before you touch your first piece of candy that you're going to buy, what do you see? You see candy, right? You just see candy. It's just candy everywhere. You just see candy. Now, the closer you start to investigate what's actually in the store, like, oh, they have Snickers and Reese cups and, jawbreakers. When you grab the jawbreaker, now it has a label. Femicide is just a simple slap label that you just give all cases of a dead woman. That's it. And it gives you the authority to begin the investigation. If she does die in case of femicide, then you would leave the label on. Okay, does that make sense to you? So it's not like the U.S. hate crime because that is an actual federal offense here. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Okay, perfect. Let me get to some of your comments. I know I missed a whole lot. This is from Yochita says, I feel bad for her family, but I also feel like they need to advocate and time to mourn. Mexico doesn't lock you up and throw away the key. They 100% use the M charge. Yeah, that's right. This is from David. Hello, David. Says, I hope justice gets served for her. That was wrong. She literally paid for her own passing. Yeah, ain't that wild? That's wild. She did. She really paid for her own death. Oh, this is from YNB says the media and others need to back off. Oh, I think I read that already. Sorry. I think I'm a little up here. This is from Russ. Can I just call you Russ? Says femicide. When y'all finally figure out why Mexico charged femicide, then you will understand why this case will never be tried in Mexico. Just my opinion. I think I explained that well enough. So I hope that helps. What's up, Rebecca? How you doing today? This from Juicy J says, the way Tisha talks irritates me for some reason. Who's Tissa? Who's Tissa? Who is that? Tissa Sophie. Who is that? A sweet Capricorn says, so annoying, but she thinks it's nice. Who is that? This is from Moo, who says TikTok fake sense of urgency and breaking news is a joke. Or TT. Who is TT? Who are y'all talking about? This is from Mika K says, so femicide is equivalent. Oh, I think I read that already. He said, dang, I was booted. From where? Y'all, the likes ain't liking. Okay. Tissa tells lies. Oh, is that a blogger? Didn't she sit down with Gerardo Zuniga? Didn't she sit down with him? Did she? I see. I see. Y'all started a side conversation. She told all the lies. Yeah, I heard about her. I heard about Tissa. I heard about her. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm just not a fan of people who put. I don't have respect for people who peddle conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories in the sense of. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories in the sense of UFOs, John Benet Ramsey, green alien. Those are fun to me. Not John Benet. She died horribly, but you understand what I mean. Like when people like who could have killed John Benet. You know those kind of theories. I welcome those. I welcome those kind of theories. Are aliens real? You know, where's Area 51? Those conspiracy theories I welcome. I don't welcome conspiracy theories or just people who peddle conspiracy theories in regards to cases like Shanquila Robinson. I don't have any respect for you. I have no respect for people like that. Because that's a woman's death and you're trying to capitalize off of someone's death. You know who also does that? The Without a Crystal Ball, she does that as well too. This what gets her in so much legal trouble. This from Moo Woo says she straight tells lies and says people are arrested who aren't. She is wild in her lies. Yeah, her and Gossip of the City. Now the Gossip of the City, let me give Fee some credit. Sometimes she's right more often than she's not, but when she's not, it's always big. She posted that tweet and said that Tory Lanez was acquitted. He wasn't. He wasn't. So she gets caught up like that too because she's trying to be the first to get it out there. You understand what I mean? So yeah, it's just not good. All for the sense of just trying to go viral. She was correct about P. Diddy's that child love, that baby that he just had. She was correct about that baby and about the mom being Asian. I think she was an anesthesiologist, but she was right about that. So Fee, she gets a pass because she's more right than wrong sometimes. You understand what I mean? She's more right than wrong. This is from It Is What It Is. Says everyone wants to be the first to break news. I don't. I never want to be the first to break news ever. I used to, and then I didn't. I didn't like. It's very competitive to be the first to break news. I'd rather just be accurate because y'all gonna find me anyway. You know what I mean? Like I could be the first to break a story. I could be the first to be like get in there, but I'd rather be accurate. I'd rather for all the evidence to come out and then analyze it to the umpteenth degree. You understand what I mean? Because once all the other bloggers broke the story being as wrong as rain, right? Then I get to wait till all the evidence comes out and then we get to analyze it and I still get people engaged, people want to talk about it, you know, and now we're talking about it with all the facts or partial facts, but we got enough, right? Versus peddling conspiracy theories. You understand what I mean? This is me. This is from Mulu says, oh yeah, I think I read that. This is from Kels. Freeman, what's up, Kels? Said, child, let me find out Tisa is Noyabe's cousin. I don't think they're cousins, but they're definitely in the same line of work. You know what I mean? Because people love being a blogger. There's nothing wrong with blogging. I think blogging's fun when it's right. That's why I like to cover the news and then I like to get into stories and then I like to cover the news and then I like to get into the story. You understand what I mean? Like what we did with the kidnapping, we covered that story for 5 days because we just couldn't get to the other stories because there was so much coming out. But I like to get to the news and then get to the stories and then get to the news. You know, I don't know, that's just me. But I don't think they're related. I hope not. This from our Virgil says, remember, Mexico can always bring up murder charges depending on what the case, what the evidence brings up. These are murder charges. They're definitely first degree murder charges for sure. Her wrongs be so overboard. Got a CC says, facts are facts. That's right. This from DL says, yes, like a book review. Yeah. Amber says, I want true facts. You are right when you are so wrong. You were right when they were so wrong, because I take my time. I would rather take it low and slow and offer theory and be like, hey, this is just my theory. I may be wrong, but this is my theory based off the anecdotal evidence, you know, versus just saying a whole bunch of crazy stuff and then be like, Steph, you was wrong. I'd rather just play around with the evidence and try to get a theory together, or play around with the evidence, which would happen to be my premises, before I draw a conclusion. So I rather play around with that than just try to chase down interviews and all that other stuff. I don't got to do all of that. If those bloggers want to go and chase down interviews, I welcome it, because we're going to review it anyway, right? I'm going to review the interview anyway and tell you what I think based off of what you said, and then based off the other evidence. Because if you say something that contradicts the evidence, then now that blogger who sat down and interviewed you, well, now it's on record and now we have it. So I rather some bloggers chase those interviews. You know what I mean? Even if they interview bad, or if they're poor interviewers, it doesn't matter. Chase it down, and then when all the evidence comes out, now we have a recorded interview. So I feel like we're doing both slots, because I can't do interviews and I can't chase stories, so I can only analyze them. So y'all pick your poison. You know what I mean? Like, if people like Fee and the North Carolina Beat and Tissa Tells, if they want to chase down the interview and chase the story, let them. Because they don't care about digging into the story like we do. They just care about being the first to get the story, and then they push it to the side, which is okay with me, because I'm not taking it scraps. All you did was just chase the story down. But what we're going to do over here is we're going to analyze it, right? This from S. Renee. What's up? S. Renee says, blogging is a new hustle. Everyone's doing it. It's like being a realtor now. Yeah, but here's the thing about blogging. News is currency. News is currency. It is. It's definitely currency. News is definitely currency. And what we do over here, you're not going to get on MSNBC. Like, MSNBC is going to tell you the story, but we're going to break it down for a couple hours, right? So like, I look at the North Carolina Beat, I look at the other bloggers, I look at them as the big media, where they just give you like scrape the surface of the story. And then I look at us as like investigative journalism, where we dig into the story, right? I feel like that's what we do. And I feel like those other bloggers are like the big print media, where they just scratch the surface. Here's the story. Do with it what you will. We just got it out there. And then I feel like we take the story and we like really like dig into it with all the evidence that they have provided. So I don't want to shit on the North Carolina Beat. He's a terrible person, but he does, I'll give him this much. I'll give him that much. He does bring the story, right? So we'll give him that much, right? But I want to get into this story right here. Let me blow my screen up. It's interesting. Somebody sent it to me. It's in regards to a man who was unalived by a bunch of, we'll get into the story. So it says that he was experiencing a mental health crisis. So why was he taken to a hospital? Why was he taken from the hospital to jail? This is out of Richmond, Virginia. It says here in Henrico Police Department identified that Ivro, I'm going to just call him Ivro for short, because I do not know how to pronounce his name. Ivro was experiencing a mental health crisis on March 3rd, and they executed an emergency custody order, or ECO, and took him to the hospital. However, at some point during the hospital stay, police opted to charge Ivro and move him away from the support offered at the hospital to a jail. Officers said that Ivro was physically assaultive, physically assault. I don't know what that word is. Let's just say combative toward officers at the hospital, which is why he was arrested and transported to the Henrico County Jail. It says that Henrico police officers encountered Ivro, I wish I knew how to pronounce his first name, when they responded to a call from his home in Ford Road at 11:34 a.m. on March 3rd as possibly a burglary call. Officers identified Ivro as a potential suspect, and the spokesperson for the Henrico police said that they used their crisis intervention training to identify that he was experiencing a mental health crisis. In response, they issued an ECO and transported him to the crisis intervention center. So why were you still at the hospital is my question. Once there, Ivro would have been met by the hospital psychiatric team and medical team, according to the Dr. Martin Buxton, the former chief of psychiatrics at Chippenham and Johnston Wilson's Hospital. Somebody would try to calm them or talk them down. He said, but Buxton, who was unconnected to this case, said that if that did not work, the person was combative, the staff would have restrained him. If somebody was violent, you could slow them down and they would be tearing up an emergency room. You would restrain them and try to medicate them. In this case, the police department said that Ivro became physically assaultive toward officers at the hospital. So they arrested him and transported him to jail. They charged him with assault on law enforcement officers, disorderly conduct in a hospital, and vandalism. This is him. This is Ivro, not Ben Crump on the case. Like, dang, Ben Crump gonna be there. I feel like this is deja vu. I feel like this is deja vu. Yes, honey, Crump gonna be there. Okay. The image was submitted by Ben Crump's law firm. CBS 6 reported that Melissa, whatever her last name is, said that Buxton, if in a situation where the patient is combative, the staff at the hospital would have tried to put a drug in him that would have calmed him down. He said, no question. So here's my thing. If he was combative with, this man is dead. I just want to clear that up. If you guys were, spoiler alert, the police killed him in jail. My thing is, if he was combative, why didn't you give him a sedative? Why didn't you give him a sedative? How did he end up in jail? He's in a psychiatric facility. They're all crazy. No offense. Okay? No offense. I'm just trying to keep it honest. They're all crazy and violent in psychiatric hospitals. So why was he the exception to the rule that he had to be carted off to jail? Right? But let me continue because this story is interesting. It says that CBS 6 does not know if the hospital staff did or did not give him an attempt to calm him down with medication. Mark Bong, who used to work in law enforcement and is currently an attorney in Henrico, who often represents police officers, said that he wonders why the officers decided the best course of action was to take him to jail. Now that's an attorney for cops. That's a cop attorney. Why'd you take him to jail? The attorney who represents cops in that county cannot figure out why cops took a mental patient out of a psychiatric facility with more drugs than there are square miles on Mount Everest to jail. The attorney for the cops. Yeah, that's why Ben Crump is on this story. That's precisely why Ben Crump is on this. Because if the attorney for the officers is confused and he can't argue that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Because why? That's like taking a woman in labor out of the hospital and back into the taxi. She was with the doctors who could help her deliver. Why would you put her in the back of the Uber? That makes no sense. It makes no sense, right? This from Plant Mama says, B52 doesn't solve psychosis. What does that mean, B52? This is from Plant Mama again, says the drugs B52, Benadryl and Advent, whatever. They often wake up just as agitated as they fell asleep because they remember what happened. What are you referring to? This is from Bo Lady, says they should just have put him to sleep. Yeah, they should have. Yeah, they should have put him to sleep. This is what Ezra says. Crump said you're gonna know him. This is what Lexi Lowe says. That makes no sense to why they did that. Johnston Willis doesn't have a specialty psych ward. Something isn't adding up. Apparently they do. And apparently, according to this, what's his name here? Buxton used to be the chief of psychiatrics at Chipton Johnston Willis Hospital. So they obviously do if they're sitting down and interviewing the former chief of the psychiatric department. So it's probably small. It's probably not that big. That's from Plant Mama says, not justifying this man shouldn't be dead, but he wouldn't understand because he's not a mental health professional. You don't have to be a mental health professional to understand that a jail and a psych ward don't mix. Does that make sense to you? Does that, I mean, I want to get understanding that they don't make sense. If somebody is in a psychiatric hospital with drugs and sedatives, enough to probably take down 30 elephants, there was no need for him to go to a hospital. The attorney who represents cops in disorderly conduct cases and, when they violate people's civil liberties, can't understand the connection because one does not exist. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If a patient was in a regular hospital, let's just say it's not psychiatric, he's in a regular hospital and he's hurt and there's something wrong with him, but he's being combative with the nurses would not call the police to have him detained. The nurses and doctor and chief of staff would sedate them because they're combative. And they know they're hurt, but they can't quite figure it out because they're being combative. Do you understand? Police have no authority in hospitals at all. At all. The one and the other are not symbiotic. Hospitals are not symbiotic with jails, and jails are not symbiotic to hospitals. They don't cross paths ever. So when an attorney says, I can't figure out why the patient went from the hospital to the jail, it makes no sense. Right? None. It makes no sense. Because if you're being combative in a jail, do you know what the jail has? A door that locks. Slide the gate. You know what happened when you're being combative in a hospital? Sedatives. Do you know how when you're being combative in the public? We don't know because we don't know where to take you yet. But what you can't do is be combative in public. You have to either go to jail or a hospital. It's one of the two. They're not symbiotic with one another. So I don't know where you're getting this from, but I think an attorney who represents police officers who do all kinds of crimes, because it seems like that's what he does, can't see the mix because the mix doesn't mix. The two don't go together. If you're being a combative individual in the public sphere, if you're in the middle of the street being combative, they don't take you to both jail and the hospital. They take you to one or the other, depending on how they assess you. Like, well, he's not bleeding or she's not bleeding. She doesn't look physically hurt, but we're talking to her and she's not responding. Take her to the hospital. Okay, she's being combative in public, but she's responding to us. So she is being combative and she's not hurt. Take her to jail. Do you see how that works? Because jails and hospitals aren't a fucking Oreo that sit on top of one another. They are two separate entities managed by two separate groups of people. Chief of staff, chief of police. Got it? Good. Okay, let's moving on. This from Yochita says, I was just going to say that hospitals have their own security. They literally have their own security. They also have tons of drugs. That's why hospitals don't care about combative people. They're like, just drug them up. It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay? Hospitals got their own chiefs. Police got their own chiefs. Those two chiefs never meet. They're two different tribes. They don't belong together. They don't know one another. One went to school for this. One graduated from high school for that. Okay? No shade to police. We just know that they only have high school diplomas. Okay? So they are not one and the same. They are two separate entities. They are two different chiefs. Okay? This from Plant Mama again. Back at it again. Says, look up the Florida Baker Act. Sure won't. Said Ex parte Baker Act. March Act. There's so much legislation that blends police and psychiatric. They shouldn't. That's the part you're not getting. That's the part you're not getting. Because laws are written don't mean they're right. That's the part of your brain that's not clicking, Stephen. Let it click. They shouldn't. Because jails and hospitals are not symbiotic. They do not rely on one another to maintain themselves. If you are being distraught and combative in the public sphere, in the middle of the street on a public sidewalk, you are going to be taken to a hospital or a jail, not both. You don't get that luxury to go to both. Okay? So give it a rest. This from Cecilia. Says, if you want to see Walking Dead in real life, come to Philly, Kingston. Joe Biden put money there, not in Ukraine. We don't give a fuck, Cecilia. Joe Biden doesn't run Philly. Are you fucking stupid? Who's the mayor of Philly? Who are the Philly taxpayers? They run Philly, not the president of the United States who has to run the entire nation. Are you dumb? What does Joe Biden have to do with Philly? He's not even from Philly. He's from Delaware. Be for real. Okay? Be for real. And don't be stupid. See, the president is the mayor of every town. Are you for real? You really wrote that and was proud of it? I'm asking you a question. I don't know why you're not answering. Do you think the president is the mayor of every town in America? Or do you think it's the elected official that people elected in the city of Philadelphia and the people who pay taxes in Philly who are responsible for the rampant drug use on Kensington? Who do you think is responsible for that? The taxpayers who continue to let it happen? And the mayor who does nothing? Or the president of the United States who got elected by everyone? I just want you to use your brain before you type the next statement. Let's get back into this article here. Ooh, child. This Saturday, and I'm usually not on this late, so I think some of the looky-loos or the people without brain cells have entered into the chat. But let me just continue. It goes on to say that Mark Bong, oh yeah, we read that part already. It says somebody who is in the hospital setting and then is placed in jail setting is probably getting insufficient treatment. Correct. Especially on the weekend. The availability of medication and treatment are going to be greatly reduced in jail environments than they would be in the hospital environment. This is from the fucking attorney for the police. Because he's right. He's right. If you are in jail and you're having a crisis and you need to be in a hospital, you're going to get inadequate treatment. Okay? And vice versa. If you're in a hospital and you don't need to be there and you're obfuscating law and you're in a hospital when you should be in jail, you're also not getting adequate treatment because you should be being prosecuted. What the fuck you doing in a hospital? There's nothing wrong with you. He's right. He's right. Okay? He's right. He's absolutely 100% Correct. He's right. Absolutely. Everything he's saying is right. This from Yoshida says people don't understand that there are American citizens of their states and members of the city, local government. Child, you don't want to go to bed with me. Listen, I'm gonna keep it real clear because I've never seen you here before. So I just imagine you're some ignorant degenerate who probably voted for Donald Trump because you're too stupid to realize that Donald Trump doesn't run Philly and neither does Joe Biden. So I'm gonna just be really nice to you. And this is probably the last statement I made. Now you can stay. I know for a fact you won't be back tomorrow because once I finish reading you, we won't see you again. There is no going to bat with you. You sound like a dum-dum. Obviously, both of your cousins are your parents, and you don't have enough brain cells to know that the president of the United States doesn't run Philly. For some strange reason, you think Joe Biden was only elected to run Philly and not the United States and the rest of the free world. So whatever you and your sister cousins, toothless uncles did to create you, take it somewhere else. Okay? Take it somewhere else. Sheesh. I mean, I'm not trying to sound mean, but like, I mean, are you for real? Let me finish reading this article. Okay, I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Hold on one second, y'all. I'm going to finish reading this. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, no wonder. I wonder why my phone. Okay. Oh, hold on one second. How's my phone on 3%? Hold on, you guys. Sheesh. Okay. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. My phone was dying, so I had to go charge it. Okay, and I had to switch phones. Okay, so let me make sure my volume's up. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Y'all almost lost me. I was on 2%. You guys, I was only on 2%. I don't know how I got out of that. Okay, I was only at 2%. Okay, so back to this Cecil person. Okay, I'm done reading that. Let me read this. Cecil, also go find somewhere else to go. So it says jails are clearly not optimal place for psych patients, and they need to they can be re-traumatized, stirring up, and the lack of capacity capability to sleep. All those things that go against the mental health. This is from Buxton. Buxton said it's possible that there was no psychiatric beds available in Heron Co doctors or at other hospitals. Was there a bed at Forest? If not, were they trying to get another bed in the town and they couldn't find one? And whether Central State had a bed, Buxton said they may have decided they couldn't manage him there, or they didn't have a bed there, or there was no psych beds available in the town. That happens. CBS 6 reached out to a variety of entities in Henrico County, including the police and mental health services, about what exactly happened in this situation. They're willing to hear back. Now, a bunch of former officers. Okay, here it is. Here's the timeline. The timeline says, what we know about the events leading up to the death. The prosecutor released a video of in custody death of Ivro, which I'm not going to play, Ivro published a new song just days before his death. His mom shows the video of son's death in the hospital. My son was treated like a dog. Ivro's mother said he was brilliant and creative. Ivro's family shows the video of his final moments, inhumane and a nightmare. Former Central State employees, 10 of them, were charged with second-degree murder. Prosecutor said the man smothered to death in Virginia mental hospital. He was smothered to death in a mental hospital. Henrico deputy's wife says the aftermath of colleagues arrested has been horrible. Lawyers for the family of the man killed in jail. He was treated deplorably. What happens to Ivro? The sheriff's deputies charged with second-degree murder. That's crazy. I think I got a picture of them. And you're going to be shocked when you see them. Hold on. What is his last name? Otieno. Yeah. Here are the deputies who were arrested. Here, let me take this off my screen. So here are the deputies. Try to zoom in. Come on, clear it up. Yeah, Bradley, Brandon Rogers, Dwayne Bramble, Jermaine Bridge, Kenyell, Randy Boyer, Tabitha Laverne, Darwin Blackwell, I can't remember, Wave Jones, and Cedarius Williams. Yeah. Was it 7 sheriffs? 7 sheriffs. Is that crazy? 7. And I don't know who these other 3 are. They might be deputies. That's crazy. Seven officers. That's wild. This from DL says, nope, probably short staff. Here goes a big place. We're going in this area by 29%. Please, just crazy. Wow. Just hit that like button. Thank you. It's just Lisa Lee. It's me, Lisa Lee. Thank you. Lexi Glow says, all I know from the city here that people have been asking why that hospital, when they're saying that there are beds available in a fully functional hospital with more expertise in handling. I think it has something to do with a nurse. That is what I think it has something to do with. I think it has something to do with a nurse. So you know how like when nurses are dealing with patients, not all nurses obviously, but you know how like nurses are dealing with patients and a patient becomes combative and the nurse turns into a Karen and calls the police. I think it has something to do with the nurse. And that's my personal opinion. Now I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But it's my opinion. But I think that a nurse, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I was wondering, I was like, why is it so dark in here? Okay. So I think that a nurse has something to do with this. I think that whatever hospital he was at, he got combative with the nurse. She didn't want to sedate him. She just wanted him out. And she called security, and then security called the sheriffs. I think that's what happened. That's what I think happened. I think that's what happened. Because that's why no one can figure out. Everyone's dumbfounded. Like everyone's like, how did he get from the hospital to the police department? Because if you're at the hospital, you got a bed. So that's why the attorney for the police was asking all those questions to, what is this? CBS 6. Like, did they run out of beds? I don't think they ran out of beds. He's like, but if they ran out of beds, there's so many other places he can call to look for a bed. So what is it? I don't think they ran out of beds at all. I don't think they ran out of beds at all. I think that he was having a mental episode, and I think he got the wrong doctor or wrong nurse. They called security and then got him out of the hospital. And then that's how we ended up here. That's what I think, because it happens all the time. Sometimes nurses can be Karens, and they just like, you know, they just get really mean and nasty. You see what I mean? And then they're like, I don't want to deal with this patient. So, you know, call security. I think that's most likely what happened. This from Amber says, Black folks, I'm sick of seeing them on TV vandalizing. Child, me too, for real. 7, just wow. Yeah, crazy. This is from Beavers Valley. What's up, Beavers? How you doing today? This is from Watson. What's up, Watson? Says, I agree with you, Chief. These new nurses definitely Karens, no heart for their patients. Not one bit. This from Cecil Jackson, still here, says you can't take the heat. Don't be a YouTuber. It's not the heat. You're just dumb. It's that simple. This from Jacqueline Harris, says, Chief, don't scream. But viewing this tonight, there's been a delay tonight. Your conversation isn't syncing properly. Is it me? Could be, but my phone was dying, Jacqueline. So it could be, it could have been distorting it in a way. So I should have charged my phone. I didn't, y'all. I was on the BLK app acting like a hoochie. Okay. I was on a BLK and I didn't charge my phone. That's the problem. I was on a BLK app acting like a hoochie. I didn't charge my phone. Okay. There, I said it. Trying to find a husband. Okay. Just trying to find a husband. So that's probably what happened, Jacqueline. When your phone dies, it can lag. So it's my fault. But I did switch my phones out. This other phone has about 60%. So we're good to go. This is from Carissa. Carissa Snow. Carissa said, thanks for staying late tonight. I'm about 10 minutes from home. I got to listen to this show from Philly to Baltimore. I'm pressed. You're welcome. I normally don't stay this late. So I guess the right crazy people came in at the right time. Still enjoying the show. Thank you, Jacqueline. It's from as Renee says, I thought you were dating someone. He left me, y'all. He left me. This from Yochita says, police departments have more than enough funds to provide incentives for officers to receive psych training to better evaluate situations involving the mentally ill. Yeah. They do. You're absolutely correct. But if, and this is a big if the patient got to the hospital and a psych nurse is like, he's not crazy, just take him to jail, but he really is having an episode, the police are just going to go based off what the nurse says. Like she said, you're not having a psychotic episode. So they're just going to beat you senseless based off of the nurse or the doctor or, or the staff. So it is what it is. Just have to be okay. Yo, what's wrong with be okay? What's wrong with be okay? It's giving scam. It's a lot of scammers on there, huh? It'd be like, it'd be a lot of scammers on there. It'd be like, dude, don't it be get low key though? Don't it be feeling like it? Don't it be feeling like scammers? Like when I mean, like, I'm not trying to no shade, and this because I love me a black man, but you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, don't they be giving you like scammer vibe, like, or is it just me? No, no. This is what Cookie Wood says. Girl, go to Christian Mingle and find you a good Cookie. Cookie. Do you hear me? Girl. No Christian Mingle. It's from Rod Mika says, well, that dating app should be using because I'm searching too. I use BLK, Hinge. I used to use Bumble, and Tinder. Those are like the good ones. Ish. ish. You know, this from Infinite Phoenix says, good evening. His name is Ivor. The media has been spelling wrong. Oh, it's Ivor. I went to school with a guy named Ivor. Okay, thank you, Infinite Phoenix. Because I feel like, I'm like, what kind of name is it? I wasn't even pronouncing it right because it didn't even look right, but thank you. Just Bougie says, damn, I got to call and miss the live. Dang, Bougie, it was good. Not Hoochie. Yeah, come on, y'all. Y'all know I'm Hoochie. This from Terrence Booker says, I got you. What's that mean? Call me. Y'all, I'm not, okay, we're gonna go soon, but let me just say that. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm too pretty to be single. So there's gotta be something wrong. There's gotta be something wrong. Okay. The math ain't mathing for me. Okay. The math ain't mathing for me. I mean, I'm not having a very good hair day right now, but I was earlier when I took myself to lunch. So what's the... I'm just saying. We all fine. Why are we single? I need to get engaged this year. Okay. I know it sounds crazy, but we got about 9 more months. Okay. I just need to get engaged this year because I'm almost 40. I can't just keep sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for someone to break through my window and marry me. I gotta do something. And I'm starting to get desperate. Sex in the City starts to make a lot more sense at this age. It does. Sex in the City starts to make a lot more sense at this age. If you watch it in your 20s, you probably got it. Watch it now. That's right. We are not side chicks. You say don't give up. Do not give up. Because they all scare her. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. I'm sure you're just as beautiful. I can't tell from your profile pic, but I'm sure you are. I hate driving through Henrico. Is it bad? Thank you, Carol Ray. I appreciate that. Listen, if y'all got single uncles and brothers who are not scammers, just send them my phone number. Okay. But not scammers. Okay. I'm looking for uncles and brothers, the single ones who are always at the weddings. Let me know. So looking for a black Mr. Big. Yeah. This from Bold Lady says, you got to get you a Mr. Big. No excuses. Yeah, but Mr. Big, he put Carrie through it. I can't let nobody do me like that. He put Carrie through it. I can't solicit. I'm a good catch. I'm not a scammer. Okay. I pay my own bills. I live by myself. I drive my own car. I have a nice car. Okay. I got my own house. Kind of nice. It is pretty nice. I got a nice house. You know what I mean? I got a degree. It's getting a little dusty because I don't use it, but come on. Okay. I'm almost 40 and I only take collagen. That's it. I don't do anything else. Just saying. I'm getting out of here, y'all. Listen, that's all I have for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern here at the Nosy Bystanders Live. I am your host, Chief Nosy Bystander. I appreciate you guys sticking with me and talking about how we all single. I'm sure some of you are married. But we'll be back tomorrow again, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you smash the like button on your way out. Don't be ignorant. Okay? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye. Yes, bye-bye.